This is your daily market recap for Monday, September 26, 2022. Hey everyone, this is my channel to help investors and traders develop a probability-based mindset to succeed. Also try and keep friends informed of what's going on in the markets and the economy, and also a little real estate content as well. This is Dan Max at EXPI Realty, aka the Trading Agent, and this is your daily market recap for Monday, September 26, 2022. Hopefully you are surviving. A lot going on. Try to break it down best I can. Apologize again. I'm in and out of the office. Some of y'all know I'm closing on a new investment property. Got a lot going on. Trying to do my best to keep people informed of what I would do, how I'd stay in front of this market. All right. We know supposedly Great Britain is about to do some sort of policy intervention. We'll see how that plays out. Bond markets have been getting ripped. Dollar's been shredding higher. Feels very near term potentially capitulation-ish. Now, again, I use those words lightly because one of the things that we all need to pay attention to is the news. We're in a cycle right now where things can change quickly. High VIX means volatility, up and down big potentially. So be aware if you are trading quickly, take your profits. If you are looking for a short, wait for a big pop. If you're looking for the dips, well, then you have your references to buy. Please be safe out there. These are not the times that you go big trying to be a hero, because this is how you get blown out, potentially, if you're wrong. So just be very careful if you have to day trade only. If you're looking for, I don't know, potential just to, quick, smaller trades. That's what I would be doing here if I was around. Please be thoughtful. We run this like a business. Do not turn this into a casino, because the action is moving fast. Doesn't mean every hand you see is pocket aces and you have to play. On that note, again, I apologize. The Discord room isn't open. People are somehow sneaking in anyway. Trying to keep this tight for now, just to help the people that are there so they can help others potentially. Trying to keep it very, again, simple. It's hard to teach everybody all the time. Again, I appreciate everyone's love and support, and they know I'm trying my best to do what I can. Bitcoin doesn't look bearish. Not really much to say. As long as it's holding its level, it looks okay. Oil down another 3%, coming into support here. I mean, you can say approximately mid-70s is probably a good bounce point. Hurricane coming next week, or this, I don't know, this week, maybe the best way to describe it. At this point, we'll see what the market does at this point. Please be safe. So, hold on one second. Looking at something. Yeah, sorry about that. I was going to hit pause, but I'm like, you know what, just keep it going. So, oil, here we go. Coming into some support, please. I mean, again, I've said it's probably going down to the 60s. It could get down into the 50 range. Just be aware. I mean, it's all possible. You have to be, again, demand destruction in the markets, liquidity issues, everything. So, I just try to warn people, be safe out there. So, sorry, I'm getting a bunch of text from the builder. And so, again, oil, watch these levels. Go back even further, you can see there's major support here on the longer term charts. I mean, it's close enough for government work. Will we not agree? I think we're going to probably get a bounce soon in oil. It's, again, getting into winter, going into what's going on. Just please be safe out there. Please don't get blown out. The dollar, straight line move, probably due for a little pullback. I've said for months, I thought we are going much higher. The dollar ultimately runs nuclear hot. We broke over 29s, talked about chopping. Here you go, up to 31. Just be careful, okay? I mean, people talking about shorting the dollar, going long. Yes, this is potential blow-off mode, but this doesn't have to be the final top. That's, to me, seems obvious. Unless we get even, and people are like, oh, but isn't this pretty nuclear? I don't know. Not in my opinion. You want to talk about nuclear dollar action? There you go. Right? 24 to 29 in 5 days. Right? This action is not nuclear. The whole overall move monthly looks nuclear, like it's going higher, but this is not extreme volatility in the dollar. So please be very careful. Know your past. The TLT, I don't know what's worse, bonds or stock bearishness right now. Like, everybody hates bonds. It's interesting. You're back testing this old trend line here. Been pretty volatile. We'll see. I mean, personally, I still have some longer dated bond stuff because I think at some point the recession will what? Be there. But please have stops. Again, I'm not adding down here. I honestly haven't added. I didn't even add last week. I kind of was in defensive positioning because I was going out of town, and that was probably the only smart thing that I really did, other than, trying to stay thoughtful of it. But we do anticipate bonds to get bought near term, or at some point when the Feds go, oh, it's a recession. But could the rates go to 4.75 on the 2-year? I mean, it's all very possible. Again, you can trust that I'm trying to advise the best, just like you would try to tell me if you were advising me on something. You'd say, hey, I think this will happen. We can all be wrong. Again, you look at the monthly, bonds have been shredded. I mean, the potential of this kind of move has never been seen in all my existence of trading. I've never seen this product get, 80 points. Basically 80 points down. I thought this was extreme bond volatility. 123 down to 88. I thought this was extreme. I thought this was all extreme. No. Bonds have absolutely done a once-in-a-lifetime kapow kind of action. Please be safe out there. I think bonds are actually more bearish than the market, which if the bond market does rally because it becomes very apparent a recession is coming, right? No doubt. We've talked about it. Every time CPI gets over 5%, a recession follows. We're technically in one. Everyone knows it. Just be safe, okay? Whew. Getting through this. Trying to. The VIX. Interesting action. Again, long wick, pop-up, doji. Talk about, if this market feels like the VIX should be in the 40s. It's not acting like it. And again, if everyone's buying puts, so much confusion. Either someone's about to get paid big on the puts, or the market's about to shred these puts like it has the last time puts got this, overbought, which was, I think, they said January. Yeah, January of 2022. Look at that. Boom. And then it pulled right back. I know people are like, you're crazy. At some point, I think this gap will fill. It might not be this year. You don't know. That's the reality. The Vixen popped up pretty strong. Again, came right back. Doji just doesn't look that bearish. SPY. This is where it gets real interesting. You got your references down here. Now, again, please don't bring a ruler to the trading game. You're at major resistance, support, whatever you want to call it. You've come down too fast. Personally, you want chop along the way to wipe out bears and bulls to get it down. Talked about 3 major gaps here. Holding lows. I don't know for sure what is coming, but something feels awkward in that everyone's bearish. The market's oversold. Bonds have moved huge in one direction. Central banks are going to try to intervene. The VIX is high. I'm telling you, I think there's going to be a pop. That's the short. That's the major short. If you were shorting down here, you need the continuation move. 100%. You need to break these levels convincingly and not look back. Okay? Something I noticed Friday and today. The QQQ, it's holding up better. Someone anticipating maybe deflation and lower rates, higher TLT. Watch that. Because the QQQ is not making new lows today. Something is fishy, but we know it is. It's Apple. We'll get there in a minute. IWM. All right, back near the range lows. It was down, I don't know, 3 points. I see the wick forming. Here's the dividend today. We'll see what happens. Going into the end of the quarter. Again, I've anticipated, and I've said this 1,000 times, and obviously early, but I anticipate a bounce into the end of the quarter to start the month as well. That will be the absolute, in my opinion, the easiest short. Shorting down here comes with risk just as buying down here. It's about 50-50. Now, the more it holds and the more bearish things seem, as long as something new, and this is what we have to be wary of, the news, we don't know. Overnight, somebody could do something real silly, stupid, right? That could happen in the market. That's your biggest worry. Be safe, be thoughtful, watch your levels, okay? Gold. We talk about being right 8 out of 10 times. Told you, folks, leave this crap alone. Since April, Here we go. I've said I like that you had a channel and you broke it. Because remember, the straight line move precedes the what? The bottom. Now that we're breaking, I've said this very clearly the last couple of videos. 140s, upper 140s is major, major long-term support. Do you technically have to break it near term? Maybe. Maybe to get the washout. The volume to still isn't that impressive. I am eyeing this stuff, but again, we need the Feds to pivot. Does the market have to just blow out first? This is where it gets difficult because we don't know for sure. Central banks start intervening. Bond markets start getting a little wild. At some point, people are going to buy gold. It's just, you got to get past the most extreme moments of the market. And I just, as much as I would like to say it's time to buy the stuff, buy the physical. I don't think you're going to be able to get better prices in the sense of like, even if the prices drop, you're not going to be saving a ton because the premiums are freaking huge. But just watch the stuff. Again, silver, the best time to buy silver is when the market capitulates. I like how it's trying to hold up. People are going to say it's a head and shoulders bottom. I severely doubt that. Because, again, silver and miners, we're going to go. Like, their best times is like, boom, smash COVID. Boom, smash 2008. That's my opinion. Again, the VIX in the 30s isn't the bottom. Let's just be honest, okay? GDX, here you go, same thing. I mean, people are like, oh, it's such a good deal. I'm like, kapow. There you go. Remember we talked about velocity, kapow? Here you go in 2008. Look out below. That's what I'm looking for. That's what I want to see. I want to see that with the miners. Now, again, they are pretty shredded. Here's a gap at 20. Again, I could be wrong here, but the probabilities of how this stuff bottoms is absolute pain because it's one of those things where it's very similar to any other asset class that doesn't have a ton of liquidity. Think about the miners in general. They're not huge liquidity. There's not a ton of it. When people, again, you're going to get all these people who are like, buy. They're going to puke. I mean, every time I look at Twitter, I'm like, man, these people are relentless. It's like the uranium folks. Like, I told you, you're going to get the pullback. Again, because what? I mean, people are like, oh, told you, you're no, it's the past. Here we are coming into the GDXJ monthly. I mean, this looks really juicy, right? But look what it did in 2020, right? It just went much lower temporarily. It went down an extra 6 points. Think about what I was talking about. Like when the dollar goes nuclear, gold and the miners will absolutely get smoked. Remember I showed you, the dollar moved, the UUP moved $5. 20% move in the currencies in a week. That's the kind of volatility I'm talking about. The end all of volatility of end all, right? It's hard, man. It is really hard because you look at AG and you go, it's 6s. This thing is a deal. Is that 14 a year, 6 months ago? Leave it alone. Again, I mean, you can trade it. I just personally don't. I mean, I'm trying to stick to the leaders. I want to watch Apple. I want to watch the Amazons. I want to watch SMH. I want to watch certain tech names. You know how it is. The big material names. Here you go. PAAS. It looks great here. I just wouldn't touch it. Just wouldn't touch it. No touchy. No touchy. Okay? Newmont, we talked about this on the monthly. When it broke, it broke. I don't want the big dogs. I don't want the mega cap gold miners. Here in 2008, everything looked fine. Gold wasn't that bad. I mean, it looked like it was holding trend. Went from 40 down to 22. Here we are. Holding trend. Everything looks good. 40. Who knows? Again, I apologize for the puking in your ear. AEM. Said, I like this one, but don't buy it early. You got the volume down here. You're making new lows. Not surprised. The market pulls everything down. Pulls it down. Okay? Be careful with the miners. Materials. Said this 1,000 times. Love this stuff long term. Don't buy it. It's going to be stuck. It's going to be chopped. Remember, the tech bull market ends with everything down. Like tech will eventually turn into what they call the tech wreck. But commodities will find their base. And remember, if the market does the absolute wipeout formation, do not be surprised when your favorite names get pretty extreme. Nucor, same thing. Just leave them alone. CCJ. I mean, again, it's hard to argue with uranium long term, but I'm telling you, it's going to get burned out. Congrats who shorted up to here. Up in this range, in the 30 range. Back at 25. Again, if it holds up and the market bounces, don't be surprised. Just be thoughtful. Be thoughtful. I'm telling you, you got to think about this stuff. You have to use the past. The VALE, Again, just probably going nowhere. Chop Central, chop suey. Arrow, we like copper long term, no doubt. Chop suey. It's just hard. Let's get into the tech names because, again, if the tech is what people have rallied into in this bull market and rates go lower near term and stabilize, the same monkeys are going to jump into tech. And when I mean monkeys, like, you know what I mean? Like just the degenerate gamblers slash everybody out there. Kind of like, follow the leader. Don't use their brain. They're using their monkey brain, not their logical brain. But here's again, the stock goes from 105 down to 67. You probably pop back up. How high? Probably the 70s. Again, I thought we could get back up into 90. That's where you got stops. You got to have stops. NVIDIA, goodbye. Like, again, we like this here, and then it went slightly lower. Sorry, Charlie. That's just if you don't think you're ever going to be wrong in trading, you should leave the room and you should quit trading. I'm not trying to be mean. It's just that kind of mentality is like going into the casino and sitting down with $1,000 and going, I am going to win every hand I bet. No, that is your idiotic brain thinking that you control the probabilities. You control what you can do, not the market. SMH, again, the market's down. This thing's down $1. It's getting tight. Retesting the lows. I've said this a million times, the best trade is the knee bend. You pop, then you drop kind of thing. And again, same thing at the highs. Like when you're about to break out, you look like you're going to break out, you pull back, then you go. Well, here are the same thing. Like, get everybody excited. If this holds, this is going to draw all the bulls back in. And you should, again, take your profits, get back to even, whatever your trading philosophy at this point is to navigate this volatility, to wait for the bounce to short. Okay? Apple. This is where it's really difficult to be short the market today and expect a much bigger move. What is Apple doing? It's making higher. It's nowhere near its June lows. Nowhere near. Anticipating a bounce. I don't know how high. Again, it could be 160s. It could be just as easy as the 158s. I don't know. Be smart. Amazon should be down today. It's up 2 points. Not anywhere close to the June lows. Should probably rally back. We'll see what happens. Get back to even. Get some profits here. Trading quickly in and out. Short term. You pick your poison. CRM. Down a whopping 20 cents today. Long doji. Again, I think money is going to come into this stuff. Google should be down. Back near the lows, though, right? This candle is really interesting. I think that's when they talked about their jobs. Again, if the market's going to unload, this stuff needs to be down 2, 3, 4 points. It needs to look like it's the end of the world. Meta. Now, this is a piece of junk. If you stopped out up here, I've left it alone. I haven't even come back to look at it. It looks like it should bounce, but guess what? Ain't no love for that. Oh, I forgot Mosaic and CF. I'll do them in a second. Microsoft. I stopped out. I'm gone. The names that are making new lows, I left them alone. I just had to. MicroStrategy. Okay, if Bitcoin's holding, look at MicroStrategy. Getting a little, things that just don't seem like the market's going to collapse. Now, again, I'm looking at the monthly. You guys, oh my God. I apologize. Let me hit pause. Now let's check out the daily for AEM. We've talked about this one. It's the one that has volume, but we're making new lows. Again, the market pulls the weight. It pulls everything. It's the rising tide, lowering tide. Again, at some point, maybe the miners will outperform. At this point, leave them alone. Materials names. Love them long term. Leave them alone. X stuck here. We said it's going to be a choppy, sloppy son of a biscuit. Nucor. Guided down a couple weeks ago. It's like, just leave it alone. I'm telling you, we love commodities long term, but if the VIX spikes to a tremendous level, they will throw everything out. CCJ, same thing. Again, materials to me is like what should probably drop to get the feds to like back off. You have to remember that. They don't care about commodities. They want them down. They care about them, but they want the stuff to drop. CCJ, same thing. Maybe it comes back to 18 to 16. Maybe it's 21. Congrats whoever shorted up here. DM me, remind me, because I'm going to give you props in my video, because we talked about it. Holding that area, and then VALE, Leave it alone. People are like, oh, it's time to buy. Nope, it is not time. Leave this stuff all alone. Copper. We love copper. Who doesn't love copper long term? Leave it alone. Maybe 7s, maybe 8s. Mosaic. Who doesn't love ag names? Leave them alone. CF. Congrats to my friends who shorted up here. Leave it alone. Feel bad that I just broke it. But it is what it is. Let's get into tech because this is where it gets real sneaky. AMD made new lows. Again, personally did not get into it. Gone. But it should bounce. If SMH is about to bounce, so we're going to show that. NVIDIA. I bought, I think, 3 calls for this week. Gone. 135. Good luck. Out of town. Well, guess what? Total L unless it rallies quickly. Anything's possible. This is where it gets rather what? Interessante. Right? Dos Equis. What is going? All right. Retesting the lows. Doji. Tight action. Volume is dying. Doesn't look like it's increasing, like it's about to break down. But we all know what? News could come out of nowhere. We know Britain's talking about doing something. Some policy intervention. We'll see how it works out. Tough to get really bearish, the whole market, when Apple is nowhere near the June lows. Now, could it absolutely open the gates and start the next move down? Yep. But as of this point, it looks like it's holding up. I mean, nice rally this AM to 115.3. Probably can get back to 158, maybe even one. I'm telling you, it's tough to be incredibly bearish the market without Apple doing what? Imploding. Amazon, what is it doing up $2? It's not anywhere near the lows. These are the names that look better. I know, bought some calls at the 100-day. Oh, brutal. Rolling around, trying to get back to even, expecting a pop. Back to even would be considered a victory. You got it. I mean, this is what I talk about with options. If you're wrong, you're gone. Or if you get stuck, you got to figure out how to manipulate the strike prices and the premium you have available to turn into a winner. You can't just hold these freaking things that are going to expire worthless. You can't do that. I'm telling you. CRM, it's gone. It's got to hold these levels, but technically, you had, breaking lows, pop, and then making new lower lows. This doji better confirm and it pop. Google talked about this one needs to hold, the 90s. Here you go. Ooh, making a new low. Dangerous. These are the names that don't seem to be leading. Meta, please. Hopefully you left this one in the trash. Don't get it. It's not. Once 155 broke, it's just bleeding lower. Microsoft, this one is on the do not buy list because what? If it's breaking these lows, it's got to hold. But look where the high of the day was. It's the freaking June lows. So it needs to get back over it quick. We talk about if you confirm and you break down, you want to get away from it. This action could technically turn bullish because you're taking out the lows, but you're not confirming by slowly bleeding lower. It's starting to get choppy and sloppy, not actually just go. What the heck? MicroStrategy. That to me doesn't look bearish at the moment. Needs to get back over what? 204. This candle looks like it's growing. We'll see what happens here. Good old Netflix. Talked about it. It's closer to what? The highs than the lows. Nowhere near the lows. Maybe not so bearish after all, friends. Be aware. We'll see. Again, this is where the volatility. High VIX means big up and down. All right, y'all? Just keep that in mind. Volatility doesn't mean down. Roadblocks. Bounce. Holding? Question mark? We'll see. Tesla. This thing should be absolutely beaten. It's not. Not making new lows. Things that you look in the market and go, all right, this is when you know. This is when you know it's done. They're Germany news. They're getting endless bad news and it's still holding up. Things that make you go, I don't know. I don't know for sure. So we've gone through tech. It doesn't look terrible. We talked about the TLT is going to hold, bond yields go lower. Is tech anticipating it? Somebody knows something because they're not buying materials, but they're buying tech. Somebody is. NDAQ holding lower high. Man, really should have shorted up here. Absolutely. We'll see. XBI. This is a wild candle. Pops, comes right back. Needs to hold these mid 70s. You see it. It's the next support. We'll see what happens. All this stuff. XLF. Now, here's where the financials are obviously going to hold the biggest pain points if central banks and markets get deteriorate. Here you go. You're back at the lows. It has to hold. Like, these are things you got to watch. You got to watch the XLF. If it holds the 30 level, is it end of the world? Morgan Stanley. Let's run through them all. Nowhere near the lows. Interesting. JP Morgan Chase. Not near the lows. We'll see. All right, here we go. Let's get into oil and solar and be done with it. USO, talked about, congratulations if you shorted up here. Now you're back, again, the 70s on the price of oil. There's congestion here. You can see it. Again, the USO sucks to trade. I mean, in a sense, the chart. UNG, talking about nat gas being a look up and fail. Little head and shoulders coming down. Maybe it needs to get to the 200-day. Keep that on your watch list. XOP, I mean, today it's down $3 or $4. Back down here, trying to fill. You see the gap? Maybe it just needs to fill this gap here. I don't know. It's not taking out the July lows, June lows. Watch that. That should be saying something, right? We'll see. Good old ExxonMobil, nowhere close. I guess $3. Yeah, not really there at the lows. Be careful. Let's get into the solar, because I mean, my belief in the solar short is not changed. I'm looking for the pop. Tan, probably holding this chop zone, right? ENPH, holding the chop zone, right? Like, please let this bounce one more time. Please. And then you can short the crap out of this stuff, I think. SP, Sedger, goodbye. I mean, but again, look where it's holding. Look where it's holding, y'all. The extreme, I mean, I guess technically this whole little area here looks like it's holding. Pray that this bounces. First solar down 13 cents. High and tight. Oh yeah. This is the Reading Railroad of this stuff. Like, hold this sucker up to short it. Again, if you have questions, DM me. Now, I apologize if I'm not always right, but if you have to look in the mirror, if you're following me thinking like, Dan's never going to lose, Dan's always going to be right, I'm giving you my best insights for probabilities. That's all I can do. And honestly, I appreciate all the love, support, donations, because again, it fuels me to give you more. But if you can't execute your own risk management, again, I take beatings every once in a while. I talk about taking money out of the market. This market, money that you make is to pay yourself. Because there are going to be times where things are not, predictable. You're going to be wrong. Just flat out dead wrong. Nobody is immune to that. The goal is to try to mitigate the risk. Mitigate the losing. Hope this helps. Hit me up if you have questions. Again, I am sorry that I am not always right. I wish I was absolutely always right and could give people that. That's my goal, is to try to be. But please, don't be mad at yourself, me, if you're not, because sometimes the market, again, you trade long enough, you're going to see yourself in a losing position. And this is where, boys become men, little girls become grown-up women, whatever you want to describe yourself as, a baby dinosaur to a full-grown T-Rex beast, is how you mitigate when you're wrong. Because that again, being right, those kind of problems are great. They're great. Oh, how much am I going to be right? That's great. Winning problems are good problems. It's when you're losing, what do you do? We'll talk soon. Be safe out there. Appreciate all the love. I'm telling you, do not believe in FOMO. Do not believe you have to get this move right now, today, to be the best move. I'm telling you right now, if you're in a position where you're down, you're losing, put the shovel down, clear out some of your trades, get some cash, and just wait. I'm telling you, that is the best thing that I've always figured out when, if I'm coming out of a mistake, the goal is not to just jump right back into something and try to get it back right away. That is the problem that people make on themselves, because they go, all right, well, the market has to go lower. It's going to bounce. I'm going to immediately short every little bounce. And then they get ripped. Or the market goes higher and they think it's going lower. And so they do the opposite, right? Or they're trying to buy a bounce and it goes a little lower, and then they're like, all right, I got to buy that, and it goes wiped out. I've experienced that many times. Again, when in doubt, do less, okay? We'll find times where things, their probability, are much more easy to predict, okay? Please be safe. Please, 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 please. Talk to you later. Bye.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you have any questions, stop by the Discord room. A link is in the description below. Also, if you'd like to help support more free content, the PayPal link is in the description as well. I appreciate your continued support of the channel.